Students, good afternoon. Are you listening my voice?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So before going to the today's concept, Indian Independence Act of 1947, and we will see certain constitutional developments before this 19 Independence Act of 1947. Okay. So in the last class, we completed certain developments up to 1946, where uh, uh, this
అవును అల్లెడ్జి
uh, this the cabinet mission plan as appointed. Okay, so the cabinet mission plan, which is one of the important development which taken place before, just before the Indian Independence Act of 1947. Okay, so in the on 22nd 1946, the decision to send cabinet mission, which was taken on 19th February 1946, the British Prime Minister Sierra Clay, which announced in the House of Lords about the mission and the plan to quit India. Okay, so this is the mission which is appointed, and the proposal was the bishop proposed to secure an agreement on the method of framing the constitution to the discussion with elected representatives of British India and the Indian states on proceeding and repairing. Okay. So, and proposes to set up a constitutional body to proposes to set up an executive council with the support of the main Indian parties. Okay, so basically the main reason behind that is to resolve the political deadlock between the Indian National Congress and All India Muslim League at their stance to prevent a communal dispute, whether the British India would be better off unified or divided. Okay, so the Congress party wanted to obtain a strong central government with more powers as compared to the state government. But All India Muslim League under the Jinnah wanted to keep India united, but the political safeguards provided to Muslims, such as guarantee uh, parity in the legislatures. Okay. So where the mission has the cabinet mission has certain recommendations. One is the unity of India Act to be retained, and it proposed to very loose union of all Indian territories under a center that would be control merely the defense, the foreign affairs, and the communication, and the union would have the powers necessary to raise the finances to manage these subjects, and all subjects other than the union subjects and the residuary power would vest in the provinces of the British India. Okay. So, and the princely legislatures would then elect a constituent assembly or a constituent making body, with each province being allotted a specified number of seats proportionate to its population. Okay. So, and the proposed constituent assembly to consist of 292 members from British India and 93 from the Indian states. Okay. So, and the mission proposed a immediate formation of interim government at the center, enjoying the support of major parties and with the Indians holding all the portfolios. Okay. So, even though this mission has failed, the main reason for the failure of the mission was the Congress party wanted a strong center with the minimum powers for the provinces. The Muslim League wanted a strong political safeguard for the Muslims like party in the legislatures. Okay, so since the both parties had many ideological differences, and would not find a common ground. Okay, so the mission came up with its own set of proposals in May 1946. Okay, so the dominion of India would granted independence without any partition, and the provinces will be divided into three groups. One is in the group A, Madras Central Province, UP, Bihar, Bombay, and Orissa. In the group B, Punjab, Sindh, Northwest Frontier Province, and Balochistan. And group C, Bengal and Assam. Okay. So, and central government at Delhi would have powers over the defense, foreign affairs, communication, and currency. The rest of the powers would be vested with the provinces. Okay. So, a constitutional assembly would be set up for writing a new constitution for the country. An interim government would be established until the new government was formed on the basis of the constitution written by the Constituent Assembly. Okay, so where this uh, since this one, the Congress was not keen on the idea of groupings of the province on the basis of the Hindu-Muslim majority and for control the center. It was also against the idea of an weak center. So the Muslim League did not want any change for the proposals. Okay, so since the plan was not accepted, a new plan was proposed by the mission in June 1946. This plan proposed the division of India into Hindu majority India and Muslim majority, later to be renamed the Pakistan. Okay, so a list of states was also made that could either join the union or remain independent. Okay, so the Congress party under Jawaharlal Nehru did not accept the second plan. Instead, it agreed to be part of Constituent Assembly. Okay, so the Viceroy invited 14 members to form the interim government. There were five from the Congress, five from League, one member each representing the Sikh, Parsi, Indian Christian, and scheduled caste communities. Okay, so both the League and Congress were given the right to nominate five members to the Viceroy Interim Council. The Congress nominated Zakir Hussain as one of the members to which the League objected, saying only it represented Indian Muslims and no other party. So the Muslim League did not take part in it. Okay, so the Congress leaders entered the Viceroy interim council, and thus Nehru headed the interim government. And the new government began to task of forming a constitution for the country. Okay, so Congress-led governments were formed in most provinces, including northwest frontier provinces in Bengal and Sindh. League formed the governments also. Okay, so Jinnah and the League objected to the new central government. He gave to hesitate for the Pakistan and urged the Muslims to demand Pakistan by any means. He called Direct Action Day on 16th August 1946. Okay, so this led to widespread communal rioting in the country, with 5,000 people being killed on the first day in Calcutta. And communal riots spread many of the other areas, notably in the Bihar also. And there was a call for partitioning the country on account of the riots. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was one of the first Congress leaders to acknowledge the inevitability of the partition as a means to stop the brutal violence. Okay. So finally, the main objective of the cabinet mission was to find out ways and means of the peaceful transfer of power in India, to suggest measures for the formation of constitution making missionary, and also set up an interim government. Okay. So, and you are well aware that before the mission plan, there is another important movement has taken place. The well-known movement in the history of India is Quit India movement, and due to the Quit India movement and despite heavy handed suppression of the government by the government, the people were unfazed and continued their struggle, and which is an important movement which called by the well-known personality in Indian National Congress, Mahatma Gandhi, and which is better to be called as the mass movement, and each and every section of India participated, and the main slogan is "Quit the British from India." Okay, so the important slogan given by Mahatma Gandhi is "Do or Die." Okay, so whether the government want to the immediate demand was to quit the British from India, and even though which was a great suppression by the British, and the important leaders like Mahatma Gandhi and many other also jailed, and the second category of the leaders from Indian National Congress which carried the movement. Okay, so even though government said that independence would be granted only after the end of the war, and because you are well known that in the meanwhile the Second World War was going on, and after ending of the war, the government has the British government want to sanction the independence to India. Okay, so after the end of the war, they want to sanction, and the movement drove home the point that India could not be governed without the support of the Indians, and the movement placed the demand for complete independence at the top agenda of the freedom movement, and public morale and anti-British sentiment was enhanced. Okay, so when you see the formation of Constituent Assembly, and the Constituent Assembly of India was elected to write the Constitution of India, following Indians' independence from British government in 1947, and its members served as the nation's first parliament. And an idea for the Constituent Assembly was proposed in 1934 by M.N. Roy, a pioneer of the communist movement in India and an advocate of radical democracy. And it became an official demand of the Indian National Congress in 1935. See, Rajagopalachari voiced the demand for the Constituent Assembly on the 15th November 1939 based on the adult Francis, and was accepted by the British in August 1940. So on the 8th August 1940, a statement was made by Viceroy Lord Linlithgow about the expansion of Governor General's Executive Council and establishment of War Advisory Council, and this offer known as the August offer. Okay, so including giving full weight to minority opinions and allowing the Indians to drop their own constitution. Okay, so and under the cabinet mission plan of 1946, elections were held for the first time for the Constituent Assembly. The Constitution of India was adopted by Constituent Assembly, and it was implemented under the cabinet mission plan on 16th 16th May of 1946. The members of Constituent Assembly were elected by the provincial assemblies by a single transferable vote system of proportional representation. Okay, so the total membership of Constituent Assembly was 389, of which 292 were from the representatives of the states, and 93 from the 93 represented from the princely states, and 4 from the cabinet, chief commissioner provinces of Delhi, Ajmer, Marwar, Coorg, and British Balochistan. Okay, so Coorg was then a separate state, and it was observed into a S12 Mysore state, and now renamed as the Karnataka state after the recognition of linguistic states in India. So the S12 Coorg state forms the Kodagu district in Karnataka, and its headquarters at Madikeri. So the elections for the 296 seats assigned to the British Indian provinces were completed by August 1946, and Congress won 208 seats, and the Muslim League 73. And after this election, the Muslim League refused to cooperate with the Congress, and because we already we already discussed about that as a direct action day in 1946. Okay, so and the political situation which is deteriorated and Hindu-Muslim riots began, and the Muslim League demanded a separate constituent assembly for Muslims in India. On 3rd June 1947, Lord Mountbatten, the last British Governor General of India, announced his intention to scrap the cabinet mission plan. This culminated in the Indian Independence Act of 1947 and the separate nations for nations of India and the Pakistan. Okay, so the Indian Independent Act was passed on 18th July 1947, and although it was earlier declared that India would become independent in June 1948, this event led to independence on 15th August 1947, and the Constituent Assembly met for the first time on 9th December 1946, reassembling on 14th August 1947 as a sovereign body and successor to the British Parliament's authority in India. As a result of partition, under the Mountbatten Plan, a separate Constituent Assembly of Pakistan was established on the 3rd June 1947. Okay. So, and the representative of the areas incorporated in Pakistan ceased to be members of the Constituent Assembly of India. New elections were held for the West Punjab and East Bengal, which became part of Pakistan. Although East Bengal later uh, seceded to the become the Bangladesh, and the membership of the Constituent Assembly was 299 after the reorganization, and it met on 31st December 1947. Okay, so the constitution was drafted by 299 delegates from different caste, religion, gender, etc. And these delegates sat over 114 days, spread over 3 years, 2 years, 11 months, and 17 days to be precise, and discussed what the constitution should contain and what laws should be included. Okay, so the biggest constitution in the entire world as the constitution comprises laws from the other countries' constitution also. Okay, so when you see the description over the Constituent Assembly, the Constituent Assembly of India consists of indirectly elected representatives who was established to draft the constitution for India, including separate countries of Pakistan and Bangladesh, and it existed for approximately 3 years. The first Parliament of India after independence in 1947. Okay, so Assembly was not elected on the basis of universal adult suffrage, and Muslims and Sikhs received special representation as minorities. The Muslim League boycotted the Assembly after failing to prevent its creation. And although a large part of the Constituent Assembly was drawn from the Congress Party in a one party environment, the Congress Party included a wide diversity of the opinions from conservatives, conservative industrialists to radical Marxists to the Hindu revivalists. Okay, so the assembly met for the first time in New Delhi on 9th December 1946, and its last session was held on 24th January 1950. Okay, so the hope of the assembly was exposed by the Jawaharlal Nehru, and the first task of this assembly is to free India through a new constitution, to feed the starving people, and to clothe the naked masses, and to give every Indian the fullest opportunity to develop himself according to his capacity. Okay, so this is certainly a great task. Look at India today, and we are sitting here and there in despair in many places and unrest in many cities. The atmosphere is surcharged with these quarrels and forts, which are called communal disturbances. And unfortunately, we sometimes cannot avoid them. But at present, the greatest and most important question in India is how to solve the problem of the poor and the starving. Okay, so wherever we turn, we are confronted with with this problem. If we cannot solve this problem soon, all our paper constitutions will become useless, purposeless. Keeping these aspects in view, who could suggest to us to postpone and wait? Okay, so these are the words of Jawaharlal Nehru. And when you see because those words which is like a which is shows the condition of India at that time. Okay, so when you see the background and the election, India was still British rule when the Constituent Assembly was established. Following negotiations between Indian leaders and members of the cabinet mission to India from United Kingdom, and provincial assembly elections were held in mid 1946, and constituent assembly members were elected indirectly by members of the newly elected provincial assemblies, and initially included representatives for those provinces that formed part of Pakistan. Okay, so the Constituent Assembly had 299 representatives, including 15 women also. Okay, so and the interim government of India was formed on 2nd September 1946 from the newly elected Constituent Assembly, and the Congress Party held a large majority in the Assembly. Nearly 69% of the seats got the Indian National Congress, and the Muslim League held nearly all seats reserved in the Assembly for Muslims. And there were also members of smaller uh, parties such as the Scheduled Caste Federation, Communist Party of India, and the Unionist Party. Okay. So in the June 1947, delegations from Sindh, East Bengal, Balochistan, West Punjab, and the North West Frontier province withdrew to form the Constituent Assembly of Pakistan, meeting in Karachi. Okay, so on the 15th August 1947, the Dominion of India and Dominion Pakistan became the independent nations, and the members of Constituent Assembly who had not withdrawn to Karachi became India's parliament. 28 members of the Muslim League joined the Indian Assembly, and 93 members were later nominated from the princely states. The Congress party secured a majority of 82%. Okay, so when you see the constitution and elections, and at the 11 a.m. on the 9th December 1946, Assembly began its first session with 207 members attending. By early 1947, representatives of uh, Muslim League uh, where Muslim League and Princely State joined, and the Assembly approved the draft constitution on 26th November 1949. Okay, so on the 26th January 1950, the constitution took effect, and the Constituent Assembly became a the provisional Parliament of India, which is continuing until after the first election under the new constitution in 1952. Okay. So when you see the organization of the Constituent Assembly, and Dr. Sachidanand Sinha was the first chairman, temporary chairman of the Constituent Assembly. Later, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as the president, and its vice president was S.C. Mukherjee, a Christian from Bengal and former vice chancellor of Calcutta University, and also chairing the Assembly's minority committees. Mukherjee was appointed governor of West Bengal after India became a republic. Okay, so jurist B.N. Rao was appointed constituent advisor to the Assembly, and Rao prepared the original draft of the constitution and was later appointed a judge in the Permanent Court of International Justice in The Hague. Okay, so the Assembly's work had five stages, where the committees represented report on the issues, and B.N. Rao prepared an initial draft based on the reports and his research into the constitutions of other nations. The drafting committee, chaired by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, represented a detailed draft constitution which was published for public discussion, and the draft constitution was discussed and the amendments proposed and enacted. The constitution was adopted with the committee of expert led by the Congress party, which is better to be called as the Congress Assembly Party, played a pivotal role. Okay, so when you see the timeline of this formation of Constitution of India, and 6th December 1946, formation of Constituent Assembly, which is On the 9th December 1946, the first meeting was held in the Constitution Hall, now the Central Hall of Parliament House, and the first person to address J.B. Kripalani, temporary president appointed, which is by Sachidhanand Sinha, which is demanding a separate state. The Muslim League they demanded the separate state. Okay, so but by demanding the separate state, the Muslim League, which is boycotted that meeting, and on the 11th December 1946, President appointed Rajendra Prasad as a permanent president, and Vice Chairman S.C. Mukherjee, and Constitutional Legal Advisor as B.N. Rao. Okay, so initially 389 members in the total, which declined to 299 after partition. Out of 389, 292 were from government province and 4 from the chief commissioner province and 93 from the princely states. Okay, so on the 13th December 1946, an objective resolution was presented by Jawaharlal Nehru, laying down the underlying principles of the constitution, and this later became the preamble of Indian constitution. On the 22nd January 1947, objective resolution unanimously adopted, and national flag also adopted. On 15th August 1947, achieved independence. India split into Dominion of India and Dominion of Pakistan. Okay, so on 29th August 1947, drafting committee appointed with Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as the chairman. Other 6 members of the committee were K.M. Munshi and Muhammad Shahadullah, Alladi Krishna Swami Iyer, Gopala Swami Iyengar, and Madhavrao, which was later replaced by B.L. Mittal, and T.T. Krishnamachari, later replaced by D.P. Khaitan, who died in 1948. Okay, so and 16th July 1948, along with the S.C. Mukherjee, V.T. Krishnamachari was also elected as a second Vice President of the Constituent Assembly. On 26th November 1949, Constitution of India passed and adopted by the Assembly. And for 24th January 1950, a last meeting of Constituent Assembly held. Constitution of India all signed and accepted the draft, and with 395 articles, 88 schedules, and 22 parts. On 26th January 1950, Constitution of India came into force. It took, you are well aware that it took 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days to draft the Constitution. Okay, so and later the G.V. Molankar was the first speaker when the meeting, the Assembly of Lok Sabha, after turning as a republic. Okay. So, committees of the Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly appointed totally 22 committees to deal with different tasks of constitution making. Out of these, 8 were major committees and others were minor committees. First one is Drafting Committee headed by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and Union Power Committee headed by Jawaharlal Nehru, Union Constitution Committee headed by Jawaharlal Nehru, and Provincial Constitutional Committee headed by Vallabhbhai Patel, and Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights, Minorities and Tribal and Excluded Areas, also headed by Vallabhbhai Patel. Okay, so and this committee had following the subcommittees also, and Fundamental Rights Subcommittee headed by J.B. Kripalani, and the Minority Subcommittee H.C. Mukherjee, Northeast Frontier Tribal Areas and Assam partially excluded areas subcommittee by Gopinath Bardoi, and excluded and partially excluded areas other than Assam, subcommittee headed by A.V. Thakkar, and Rules Procedure Committee Rajendra Prasad, States Committee which is Jawaharlal Nehru, and Steering Committee Rajendra Prasad, National Flag Ad hoc Committee Rajendra Prasad, and Committee for Function of the Constituent Assembly headed by G.V. Molankar, House Committee headed by Dr. B. Patabi Sitaramaya, and Language Committee headed by Moturi Satyanarayana, and Order of Business Committee headed by K.M. Munshi. Okay, so all this finally, which drafted the Indian Constitution under the Indian Independence Act of 1947. Okay, So before going to Indian Independence Act of 1947, I have to share my screen, and then I will explain the Indian Act of 1947. Okay, so this is uh, Indian Act of 1947, and where the Act of 1947, which is an act of the Parliament of the United Kingdom that partitioned British India into the two new independent dominions of India and Pakistan. The Act received the royal assent on uh, 18th July 1947, and thus India and Pakistan, comprising West modern day Pakistan and East modern day Bangladesh regions, came into being on 15th August. Okay, so the legislature representatives of the Indian National Congress, the Muslim League, and the Sikh community came and an agreement with Lord Mountbatten on what has come to be known as the Third June Plan or Mountbatten Plan. Okay, so this plan was the last plan for the Indian for the independence, and background of at least announcement, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom announced on 20th February 1947 that British government would grant full self-government to the British India by 3rd June 1948. Okay, so at the latest, the future of the princely states would be decided after the date of the final transfer is decided. And future of the princely states, Attlee wrote to Mountbatten on 18th March 1947 that it is, of course, important that Indian states should adjust their relation with the authorities to whom it is intended to hand over power in British India, but as was explicitly stated by the cabinet mission, His Majesty's government to not intended to hand over their powers and obligations under paramount to any successor government. Okay, so it is not intended to break, not to bring paramount as a system to conclusion, either than the date of the final transfer of power, but you are authorized at such time as you think appropriate to enter into negotiation with the individual states to states for adjusting their relation with their crown. Okay, so and the princely states would be free from orders and treaties of British rule in India. They can either join two dominions or stay separate provisions. The Act at the most provisions for us. Okay, so the division of British India into new dominions of India and Pakistan with effect from the 15th August 1947. Okay, when you see the provision of this act, the partition of the provinces of Bengal and Punjab between two new countries, and establishment of office of Governor General each in each of the two new countries as representative of the crown, and conferral of complete legislative authority upon the respective constituent assemblies of the two new countries, and termination of British suzerainty over the princely states with effect from 15th August 1947, and recognize the right of states to remain independent or accede to either dominion, and abolition of the use of title Emperor of India by British monarch and by royal proclamation on 22 June 1948. And the act also made provision for the division of joint property, etc., between the two new countries, including the particular the division of the armed forces. Okay, so and the Indian Independence Act of 1947 was an act of British Parliament that partitioned India into the two independent dominions, India and Pakistan. You are well aware. And the legislature was drafted by Labour government of Attlee. It was based on the Mountbatten Plan, the Third June Plan, which was formulated after the leaders of Indian National Congress and Muslim League agreed to recommendations by the Viceroy Lord Mountbatten. Okay, so Lord Mountbatten came to India with specific task of seeing over the handing over the authority to the Indians, but the Indian National Congress and League could not agree on the question on partition. Okay, so an initial plan proposed by Mountbatten, known as the Dickey Bird Plan, was opposed by Nehru, According to this plan, the province were to be declared independent and then allowed to join or not join the Constituent Assembly. Okay, so Nehru opposed this as it would, in his opinion, would lead to countries' balkanization. Okay, so then Mountbatten came up with the latest plan known as the Third Zone Plan, which was accepted by all parties. The Indian National Congress, which was opposed to any partition of the country, finally accepted it as an inevitable process. As per this plan, India would be partitioned into India and Pakistan. The constitution framed by the Constituent Assembly would not be applicable to the areas which would go into Pakistan. These provinces would then decide on the separate Constituent Assembly. Okay, so the Legislative Assembly of Punjab and Bengal voted for the partition, according to which these provinces were to be divided between the two dominions along with the religious lines. Okay, so Assembly of the Sindh was given the choice to join the Indian Constituent Assembly or not. It decided to join the Pakistan. In the northwestern frontier province and the Sylhet, a referendum was to be held, which would be decide the country they were to join. And the complete legislative authority would be given to the constituent assemblies of the new countries. And the act decided to grant independence to India and Pakistan with effect from 15th August 1947. And the new boundaries of the Dominion would be demarcated by the Boundary Commission. And British sovereignty over the princely states was to end. The states would decide to join either India or Pakistan or remain independent. Over 560 states decided to merge with India. The British Emperor would cease to use the title Emperor of India until the new dominion constitution would became effective. The heads of the state would be the respective governor generals who would continue to assent laws passed by the constituent assemblies in the name of the king. Okay, so this act received the royal assent on 18th July 1947 and entered into force. Pakistan became independent on 14th August and India on 15th August 1947. Okay, so dear students, this is about my last lecture, I think, because tomorrow we are going to conduct this seminar, so that the direct lecture by the teachers maybe today's class only. Okay, dear students, are you hearing? స్టూడెంట్స్ వినిపిస్తుందా? ఉన్నారా స్టూడెంట్స్?
సార్
వినిపిస్తుందా?
గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ సార్.
ఓకే, గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్. ఆర్ యు లిజనింగ్?
వినిపిస్తుంది సార్.
యా, ఓకే. సో ఇది మీ ఎంఏ 2 yearsలో దిస్ ఈస్ ద లాస్ట్ డైరెక్ట్ క్లాస్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ టీచర్స్. ఓకే, సో రేపు క్లాస్ ఉంటుంది, కానీ ఎట్లాగో మీరు సెమినార్ ప్రజెంటేషన్ చేస్తారు కాబట్టి టీచర్ ఎలాంటి ఎక్స్ప్లెనేషన్ అనేటటువంటి ఉండదు. ఇదే మీకు లాస్ట్ క్లాస్. ఓకే, సో థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్ అండ్ బీ రెడీ ఫర్ యువర్ సెమినార్ ప్రజెంటేషన్ టుమారో at 11 AM, రైట్?
ఓకే సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
అందరూ
ఓకే సార్.
ఓకే, ప్లీజ్ బీ రెడీ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ యూ. ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎనీ డిఫికల్టీ to give your seminars, just inform me before. Okay, so because according to our college instructions, no alternative for the seminar, you have to be present. Okay, it's a compulsory, right? So those who fail to attend or give the seminar, those may get the failed memos. Okay, so no alternative, and you have to give the seminar for seminar in the next year with your juniors. Okay, సో దీనికి సంబంధించి సెమినార్కి సంబంధించి ఎలాంటి ఆల్టర్నేటివ్ లేదు. ఒకవేళ మీరు ఆబ్సెంట్ అయితే ఆబ్సెంటే, ఓకే. సో ఎవరైనా అబ్సెంట్ అయినట్లయితే ఇక మేము చేసేటటువంటి ఏదైతే ఏమీ లేదు. ఏమన్నా మీకు ప్రాబ్లమ్ ఉంటే ముందుగానే మాకు ఇన్ఫార్మ్ చేస్తే దానికి సంబంధించి ఏమన్నా కాస్త ఆల్టర్‌నేటివ్‌గా మేము చేసే పనేమన్నా ఉంటే మీకు ముందుగానే చెప్తాం. ఓకే. స్టూడెంట్స్,
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
okay. So tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Okay.
Be ready, right? So thank you very much. I am ending my class now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.